Back in 1998, my partner, Keith Rosewith, and I saw a problem going on at the sand dunes in the way of, it was pretty much the Wild West. This was just as the internet was really becoming popular. So we started a website called Glamis Online. And so then by, I think, 2000, we started collecting funds, and we're thinking, well, when we go to the sand show and raise $30,000, there ought to be some accountability, so we need to incorporate. And we wanted to figure out a good name for it, and we said, well, this is America, and it's our sand, so it's the American Sand Association, and we've stuck with that name ever since. Jerry Seaver and I went camp to camp with flyers on numerous trips, telling people what was coming down the pike. Most of them had no clue. And so that became our mantra.
One of the most important things that we did was our mantra of unite, inform, and mobilize. It's worked in many cases and many issues that we've done at the dunes. The management plan that came up, it organized people and got the management plan based on data instead of just what they like to see and how they wanted the management. We've had issues with law enforcement. Our checkered flag program helped prop them up, and hopefully that's continued. It's really needed. We need to be working with the dune managers, which is the Bureau of Land Management. That's how we get things done.
We've been about 20 years, and during that 20 years, we've all gone down to the dunes and had a good time. Rode around, enjoyed our family, and so forth. But there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. You need to recognize that we have a volunteer board. We have volunteers that are dealing with the battles that we have to fight in order to maintain access. We didn't get that 40,000 acres back without a lot of time and a lot of effort and a significant amount of donation of both human resources and dollars. I got involved about 2 years after ASA really was formed. My first real job with the ASA was chairman of public education and law enforcement. The bottom line looking ahead, though, is that we really need to get into this education process. Look for the threats, because they're going to continue to exist. Our adversaries are going to want to continue to limit the use of the OHV in all venues, not just the dunes, but significantly. So we need to educate people. And dust abatement, air quality is one that we need to work on. There are rules and laws that exist today, and those need to be enforced.
I know I hear all the time, they could never close the Imperial Sand Dunes. They can, believe me. I've seen the plans. 20 years ago, when we first started the ASA, they sent a whole team out to investigate the issues at the dunes because things were very wild. There was a lot of party atmosphere, and it wasn't primarily a family recreation. And basically they were contemplating, because it was being pushed by one of the environmental groups, Center for Biological Diversity, that they needed to take and shrink the areas down. And that's what people don't realize. It's not a matter of just closing the whole dunes. That's why it was so important that we got that whole center of the dunes reopened in the management plan on the PMV issue. And believe me, they're going to be back. We need to continue with the studies we do on plants and animals. We need to be proactive, or we won't beat them. They've got more money than we've got. We need people to participate. We need people to donate to do these studies. It costs money just to be able to compete. Don't take for granted that they're always going to be there. Another thing that the groups that are anti-dunes try to do is limit the capacity at the dunes. For 20 years that ASA has been around, it's something we've had to deal with. So they don't close the dunes, so they don't close an area. So now they start chipping away with how many people can be at the dunes at one time. And you can see what happens there. It's this number this year, this number next year. Now we don't have enough funding, so we're going to cut the number again. And so one way to look at these fees that we're paying now for the law enforcement and to help manage the dunes, it's keeping it so we don't have capacity limits. It makes it so it's palatable to the land management, the Bureau of Land Management. And so I don't like the fees either. When I started the dunes, it was all free forever. But times change, you know. When I started, there wasn't three-wheelers at the dunes. Then the quads came, and then the buggies came back, and then big suspension come, and then the side-by-sides. You know, started out with a rhino. You don't see rhinos anymore. But capacity and limiting the capacity at the dunes is another way of just closing them. We've got another management plan coming up here in a few years. Normally those have to be renewed every 10 years, and normally they're always late. But we're going to need all the support to keep it on a data basis for the next management plan. This dust issue that we see at Pismo, that could come over in the dunes and bite us. We need to be proactive and basically do some things so it doesn't become an issue, and that can happen. One of the ways people can help is by donating their time. But if you haven't got time, we need you to donate your money, because some of these things that we need done that can be done by people, we can hire out if we have the money. So in helping keep your dunes open, if you're a business, we need you as a business sponsor. You should care. You should take a look at what it's going to cost your business if those dunes shrink down. Get a membership, $25 a year. If half the people at the dunes got a membership, we could do more studies. We could be more proactive. We still need volunteer hours too. And over the years, we've had some fantastic volunteers, and there's still some fantastic volunteers involved. But we need both. And so please donate, get your business sponsor, and if you're not, encourage anybody you do business with to become a business sponsor, and anybody you dune with to become a member of the ASA.
And I want to draw attention to our fantastic sand industry sponsors that have donated thousands and thousands of dollars. We really appreciate your support. This is the organization to keep the Glamis sand dunes open. I don't know of any other out there that has accomplished so much with so few resources. The more companies we get to donate, we could have less donations per company. And while I'm thinking in those terms, if every person that went to Glamis just at the beginning of the year donated $10 to the ASA, that would be $10 million. If we could do that every year, we would have sufficient funds to carry us through and stand any battle. The point being, if they knew we had these resources, they would think twice about coming after us again.